No, I do not. Forgive me, I'm slightly sick. I am actually recovering. But the topic for today that I'm going to be talking about, touching on a little bit, is if I believe in God. Specifically a Christian God, but more generally, I don't believe in any religion at all, especially not a human created one anyway. It's kind of crazy to me that a lot of people still do believe in a religion, whether it be Christianity or Muslim or Judaism or anything like that. I know a lot of people in Europe aren't religious anymore, but a lot of people in the U.S. are, which is still it's kind of crazy that they still believe in that. Well, I don't mean to offend anyone who is religious. You can keep that belief or whatever, but to me, there isn't enough like proof in just like the Bible or anything like that. Like that isn't proof in itself of like a god or a religion. This is one of those topics that I would be willing to debate someone on. If you check out my other videos about like flat Earth or whatever, uh, I really would like to get somebody on the horn here to talk about whether they believe or not. Well, I would be the person who would take the position of not believing. I would debate someone who would believe one of those topics. I think it'd be a really interesting conversation. But um, to me, religion was created as kind of this coping mechanism to cope with the fact that your loved ones or yourself or whoever is gonna die, and it's kind of like, oh, there'll be this place after life that is like this nice, very comforting, all like I don't even like just it's just pleasant to be there, like infinitely pleasant, infinitely great to be there. Obviously, there's people that believe that they might go to hell or whatever, but there being an afterlife in general to them is less scary than there not being an afterlife, which kind of makes sense. Like, have a belief system, like why so many people would believe that. Um, I know back in the day, like way way back, like when Rome and Greece and stuff were around, there was a lot of beliefs with like lightning and monsters and all that kind of stuff in the wild, that it's like, oh well, I can't explain why lightning happens, it's probably a god. And living back then would make a lot more sense to believe in a god, because you couldn't explain something like lightning or unforgiving winds or something like that, and it was thought of as just like an act of God. And it, to me at least, makes a lot of sense why it was believed back then. Nowadays, we could explain everything, and that's kind of my second point, is that things back in the day that we used to think that a god would do, like lightning, like wind, like an earthquake or something like that, would be explained now by basic science, and you can kind of replicate results, like much smaller obviously, but you could replicate those results yourself. And I think what'll end up happening as we explore more and more into science and learn more, a lot of the things that we would believe are like something a god could do or something God would do would be just something like that. Nature obviously isn't like a living being, but like nature as in like it just kind of happened with no like rhyme or reason, or like with something like lightning, it kind of happened because of like a an event in the atmosphere, like just something happening to cause it that could be replicated, and it obviously isn't done by a living being. Um, and also something I also find really weird or interesting about religion is that they're all like human-like. I mean, obviously, God in like Christian God isn't given, I think, like a specific like gender or like what he looks like, but Jesus, the Son of God, is. He was born as a dude, and I think that all religions kind of revolving around God, like Judaism, Muslim, Christianity, they are all very similar in the sense of what they believe, and they kind of having physical descriptions, and they're being like human, like obviously Jesus being human. Like to me, it's just a human coping to me, and I kind of wonder like if aliens ever did visit Earth, uh, how would that impact like religious people? Because now that there's another intelligent being, let's say it's an intelligent alien species that visits Earth, how would that affect the people who are religious? Like, who would believe that humans were the ones created to be intelligent, and they're the ones given to run the planet? I don't know how that would kind of change. That'd be really weird. I don't think it would cause religion to necessarily collapse, but I do think it would change a lot of people's perspective on how something like a god or whatever would handle the creation of the universe, because there are multiple like intelligent life forms that are in the universe now, like confirmed multiple intelligent life forms in the universe. I think that would shift a lot of people's perspectives on religion and what God could be. A few other things that I see that like what God could be outside of like the main religions is like this like God is the universe itself. Now technically this cannot be factually proven wrong. Like God isn't a conscious being. God is just like the entire observable or even inobservable universe. So like God would be the Earth, the Sun, the Moon, and like the other galaxies or whatever. Like technically, you can't prove that false, but I just don't believe that because I don't believe like that there is a God. Like not even in the sense of like, oh, you have to worship the universe or whatever. It's just I don't believe like the term God is like a. When I think of a God, I think of someone like you kind of follow, like that'll be a loving person, or I get it's God, but it'll be a loving figure in your life, and like maybe not even entirely, but like oh maybe there would be an afterlife and that's where they would be or whatever, something like that. And that's just not what I believe because I don't think that there's any proof of that outside of the Bible, whether it be New or Old Testament or the of the other religious books that there are. But to me, that's just like it's not enough. It's not enough because it's the book is the proof that the book is a religion, and it just isn't enough for me. I do see a lot of people say that the universe must have been created by something, usually implying that there's a god. And to that, you could always just be like, well, someone had to have created God, because even if like you don't rely on the universe, like something had to have created the universe, like something had to have created everything, then something also had to have created God, like because it's just the same argument, but like in reverse. Like instead of saying, well, something had to have created the universe, I could just be like, well, something had to have created God. How did he get here? And then it just infinitely goes, well, something had to have created the something that created God, and then it's just like an infinite cycle. Like to me, kind of implying that the universe had to have been created by someone isn't really a fair argument. And I'm just kind of going over the arguments that I've personally heard, because something would have also had to have created a god to begin with. Another reason I personally don't subscribe to a religion is because, and this isn't the case for all like the churches or whatever, but a lot of the big like big churches, big priests and whatever, they're in it for the money. Like there's so many people in religion that are in it for the money, and I'm not saying it's everybody, I'm not saying it's most of the people, but there are people in religion who are in it for the money. Of course, there are people who are in it for the money in every aspect of like a life, like a job, a political position, a position of power, anything. There are people that are going to be in it with money, like for the profit. But for religion, it's slightly different because when you believe in a religion, it should be something that is a community thing, and like you're supporting each other. And I'm not even saying going to a church is a bad thing because there's like a community there that you can meet. I don't have an issue with that. But like when you go to a church and you're there to help out, and you give money to your church, and when it's like a huge church, like a giant church, there are giant churches and stuff like that. At least some of them. Again, not all of them. I really don't know like if every single giant church is bad, but some of them are. And the priests, like they're buying private jets, and they're getting millions and millions of dollars, and they're sitting here and they're saying like, oh, it was God that wants me to have this, like I'm the one that's closest to God. And there's also just so many bad people who believe in God and whatever and this and that. And if there truly was like the Christian Bible says, like an all-loving God, why hasn't anything happened? Like why would the all-loving God let the I don't want to say evil because they're like I really don't think there are evil people, but like not everyone's evil. But like, why would the bad people get to have so much power and then harm the good people? Like, yeah, maybe that'll get worked out in the afterlife if there is one. But if we don't know that there is an afterlife, like we genuinely just kind of have to sit here and mindlessly believe, at least for a certain extent, which to me at least doesn't really seem like a worthwhile trade. anyway, like believe in this, get these guys the money that they want. And there's money to be had like in so many different places. Like a lot of people who say they believe in flat earth are just there for the money. I'm sure it's like that with religion. I'm sure it's like that with politics. I'm sure it's like that with people who run businesses. Like there are so many people who want to say that they are doing this for the good of blank and blank when really they're just doing it for money. And to me, that's kind of the main reason. I don't believe in religion anyway. But to wrap things up, uh, if you believe in a religion, it's fine. I'm obviously not gonna hate it or whatever. But if you believe in a religion and you strongly, strongly hate this video, let me know. Let me know, cause I will talk to you about it. I think that'd be pretty interesting. Um, anyway, sorry for the little hiatus. I was on vacation and then I got sick on vacation, so I came home sick. But we're back into it. This is a very monotone voice right now. That's because I'm still recovering from being sick. So I hope the video was still worth watching. Anyway, uh, I'll see you guys later.